All right, good morning, everyone. My name is Ryan Davidock. I'm the supervisor for the Planning, Zoning, and Land Use Unit within the Planning and Local Business Development Division in Oakland County. Welcome to today's virtual planners gathering, partnering with chambers of commerce to improve local planning and economic development. Just a few reminders, the meeting is being recorded and will be made available on our website. Also, if you have any questions, please use the chat function in Zoom and direct your questions to Jim Schaefer. Jim will moderate a question and answer session after the presentation has completed. Closed captioning is also available, and it can be enabled on your computer using the toolbar. So let's get started. It's my pleasure to introduce Linda Williams, Executive Director for Madison Heights, Hazel Park, and Hazel Park's Chamber of Commerce. Um, I'd like to thank Linda for joining us, and Linda, the floor is yours.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Hopefully everyone's feeling real good after the big Lions win last night. And everyone is, of course, heavily caffeinated already this morning. I know I got my 2 cups of coffee already in this morning. But thank you all for tuning in and taking the time to allow me to share our story. We got 45 minutes here, so if we're in luck here, we can maybe wrap up a little bit early. I'm sure that's not going to offend anyone here. Ryan, go do the first slide. So introduction. All right. So the title is How Local Chamber of Commerce Can Advance Economic Development and Planning. Of course, there's many chambers of commerce that exist in Oakland County, and of course across the state. And some of the noteworthy chambers in our vicinity include Royal Oak, Clawson, Berkeley, Troy, to the north of us. And of course, they all offer their own distinctive services and activities throughout the year. Madison Heights Hazel Park Chamber of Commerce, and I'm going to kind of abbreviate that to MHHP. It's a little bit of a mouthful, so you're going to hear me say that a lot. We stand out due to our partnership with City of Madison Heights, City of Hazel Park, and the Madison Heights even DDA. We're going to explore those unique aspects of that collaboration that we have with both communities that has greatly improved our local planning and economic initiatives. I'm going to share some few case studies to illustrate this advancement and how it has greatly benefited the businesses that we serve. Next slide. So before we go into a deep dive into that, I think it's essential to provide a little bit of a background information about my experience and the timeline that it's important to understand how Madison Heights or MHHP Chamber as it stands today, along with some of the existing collaboration with both communities. So I started my early career with City of Hazel Park when I was an intern. I started as an intern there, worked all the way up to 10 years, got full-time after I graduated from OU, and then transitioned to City of Madison Heights for almost nearly 12 years there as their economic development coordinator. And then briefly went into the private sector with construction work for almost 40 years there, and that was at the time of COVID. And then full circle back to what I call home sweet home, to this new hybrid role with the Madison Heights Hazel Park Chamber back in 2022. I had to look that up because it felt like it was longer than that, but since 2022. Next slide. So here's a picture of my last day with the City of Madison Heights before I went off on my new adventure with Cimarron. It's actually a private company in Madison Heights, so I didn't really go far in that case. And of course, true to my usual craziness, I requested a nice send-off complete with my banker's box and Madison Heights finest police officer and his canine partner, Graham. Next slide. So here's a picture of me in action on the road with Cimarron Inc. This was a picture taken on the stretch of I-69 near the Lansing area. Definitely loved the new challenge. It allowed me to travel a little bit. Not like travel to Hawaii or anything, but probably Lansing for the most part, Lansing area. I got to oversee a new road team and this was a time of the fun times working for MDOT during COVID at the time. So next slide. Despite that transition to the private sector and my frequent travel for the job or the new role there with Simran, I remained actively engaged with my community, MHHP community, and I ensured that my new company, Simran, sponsored some numerous community events, never stopped at, including this annual golf outing. Next slide. All right, let's get into it. I previously mentioned working for a hybrid chamber, and I'm excited to kind of share that backstory. A good significant portion of that credit goes to my city leaders, Melissa Marsh, who's, of course, the city manager of Madison Heights, and Ed Klobuchar, the city manager of Hazel Park. They often emphasize that timing is essential, and my appointment as a new executive director coincided perfectly, in my opinion, with a transformative, or I like to say evolution, that brought this new initiative to life. It really started with a casual conversation with Melissa, where I shared my desire to return back to the public sector after the passing of our Cimarron president, unfortunately. Really, to make a long story short, both my previous city bosses, they played a pivotal role in creating essentially a city agreement that defined the services the chamber could offer effectively. This agreement focused on areas where both cities felt that they could enhance support for their small businesses, drawing really from my previous experience with both municipalities. It received the backing from both the City of Hazel Park leaders and ultimately the Madison Heights Hazel Park Chamber Board. In this slide, I've outlined the key aspects of that agreement. There's no need to go into the details about each point in this particular slide, because I'm going to provide some examples of how we meet those commitments later in the presentation. Next slide. So in addition to these essential services requested from the chamber, a financial contribution was established to support these additional services that were not previously provided. So for full transparency here, I gave you, here's a breakdown, detailed breakdown of the financial arrangement that was agreed upon. Just an important note, these are quarterly payments. And I am also required to send quarterly reports of some of the highlights of that quarter, and this to be renewed annually by the three entities involved. Next slide. So many of us recognize the conventional functions that Chamber of Commerce provide to our communities and local economies. So what I did was break that down to 4 key areas where I think most chambers excel, right? And naturally, each chamber have their own focus. Here at MHHP, we place significant emphasis on economic development and planning. It's a very distinctive approach for a chamber of our size in Oakland County. But I'm going to highlight a few examples of how we differentiate ourselves in this role related to other areas too, like networking and training, education and research, which is workshops and training, as well as how we do a little bit different on how we promote our local businesses. Next slide. So the most crucial aspect of our work is advocacy initiatives, particularly emphasized. I put a star next to the ones that I think really drives it in. My prior experience allowed me to really essentially guide our members through the process of, we all heard it, it's certificate of occupancy, or we call C of O, securing their business license, addressing zoning inquiries related to specific use categories. And then this really ties into my ombudsman role, which I'm going to talk a little bit more in depth of later, which is, in my opinion, one of the most vital and appreciated services that we provide for our members. So in the upcoming slide, I'm going to further elaborate on how we collaborate with both the city staff and leaders on these specific economic initiatives, such as promoting local jobs and enhancing the quality of life activities specific to a DDA activity. Next slide. So again, I mentioned the four main areas of economic and planning service that we like to that we partner with the cities. So one, the pre-development meetings and walkthroughs. We conduct these pre-development meetings and walkthroughs with potential developers. These initial discussions and keys or site visits are crucial in helping our businesses understand the necessary steps for a smooth approval process. Like we like to say here, we don't want to get our businesses caught off guard, or like we like to say it here in MHHP, caught with their pants down. I think that's a phrase that pretty sure that Jim Schaefer came up with. But anyway, this approach reduces delays and fosters a cooperative relationship between our business community and the folks working at the city. Next slide. Two, we offer crucial assistance to our members in navigating zoning issues and zoning regulations. This support includes addressing any inquiries about general building expansions, identifying projects that require a site plan or what would trigger a variance, and recognizing those that would maybe trigger a special use approval. No. I want to make it very clear though. I am not a certified planner or a building official. However, I do have 10 years of experience in Hazel Park and nearly 12 years in Madison Heights as the city's EDC. And then from that experience, I've gained a solid understanding of the fundamental zoning ordinance details that often arise from my meetings with these small business owners. And I have to give a little credit to Jim Schaefer too, as well. I learned a lot from him in my years with Madison Heights. We actually worked together on many of those zoning text amendment recommendations. I like to think he always said that I was like the EDC. We're like the canary in that coal mine, right? Sharing any potential problems or any other economic indicators that we receive from our business community. So, but I always had a 50-50 success rate for getting those recommendations. All right, this support is particularly beneficial to our community because many of our Asian and Middle Eastern restaurant or business owners, they do hesitate to ask direct questions and reach out to City Hall. So for that, I think they do rely on me to reach out to those city leaders or planners and building officials for clarification, and then I bring that information back to them. Next slide. 3, due diligence support. So many of my colleagues at the EDC world here would concur. I would agree that this service is essential for businesses aiming to start or expand within their city. We've certainly frequently received inquiries regarding potential sites across various land use categories, such as, oh, Linda, do you know any, 5,000 square feet warehouse or a commercial space to put in my kitchen or a new product I'm launching? They reach out to us to gain insights into the market conditions too for specific areas within the city, among many other concerns, of course. And to provide this service, the Chamber, we collaborate very closely with the city staff. That also includes local brokers, they're on my speed dial here, property owners, well as, of course, planning, fire marshal, and the building official. And together, we offer these pre-development walkthroughs and that informal complimentary service walkthrough designed to address any critical occupancy or permit issues that these prospective owners should consider before they sign that lease or purchase that property. This support has empowered our business owners to make informed decisions regarding expectations from our city staff, thereby minimizing any risk in enhancing the likelihood that this project will move forward. Next slide. So number 4, our ombudsman role. I'll save the most important one for last, really. Our ombudsman service stands as a crucial asset and a value for our members, effectively catering to the diverse needs of many of our members. It is, without a doubt, the busiest service we provide. We collaborate closely, again, with our city partners and staff to cultivate that connection between our members and various city departments. And I want to address, it's important to know it's not always about, business or code related questions. I do frequently get questions or assistance on wide range of concerns, a lot to deal with code enforcement. And I've been getting a few even related to police matters. So, this essential service is perhaps the most significant aspect of my job. Our members know that they can rely on us for answers to any questions related back to city government. Next slide. So here's a picture of my Hazel Park partner, James Finkley. If you don't know him, he, of course, is our community development director for City of Hazel Park. Next to him is my intern when I was in Hazel Park. I ran into him at the last year's community showcase event in Oakland County. Must have probably passed him a couple times, but he did tell me that he got a leadership position at the North Pole there. That's why I didn't recognize him. All right, next slide. All right, so I have a valuable piece of advice for all my chamber colleagues that are tuned in to here this morning. I strongly encourage you to connect with your EDC. And of course, it stands for Economic Development Coordinators. Some are called Business Development Manager. Some are called, or anybody that really that work directly to support small businesses. So in this photo here, you're going to see my rock star colleagues. Close colleagues from Southfield, and they're in the front there. Kim Maroon's from Oak Park and Pam from Rochester Hills. And of course, you guys all know Giles who is the CDD director for Madison Heights. But most communities in Oakland County, they do have a dedicated economic development staff or a DDA director or a Main Street director. Okay. And for my chamber colleagues, I urge you to build relationship with these individuals for collaboration. With us, both city representatives from Madison Heights and Hazel Park, they have a permanent ex officio seats on the board. They're actively joining us for virtually every meeting. They are engaged at these meetings, and their presence at these is invaluable as it provide very much key insights and resources for us. All in all, cultivating these vital relationships is crucial for the services we provide at the chamber, and it does play a significant role in advancing some of the numerous economic planning initiatives that we do for our businesses. So next slide. Like I said, I mentioned we're going to go through a couple case studies, and I have about 4 of them that I want to share with you today. So I'm going to start with my big one, the one that we recently did, and that's our Madison Heights Downtown Touchdown. This is a great example of how this collaborative approach to advancing some of our economic development and planning services. We work together. This is the city of Madison Heights, the DDA, work together for the initial planning, all the way from engineering and planning for the stretch of 11-mile streetscape. Together, I know Giles and I, in the very beginning, we visited the affected businesses along that construction route to inform them of this upcoming project. Our collaboration extended to communicating all throughout from the start to the very end to this event, communicating and promoting the event in both our social media platforms. I know I included that in our weekly newsletter and of course in our social as well. And then we were tasked specifically, the chamber that is, to rally the volunteers and the event and all the vendors to participate. To me, that's an area that was a no-brainer for the chamber to participate. And really the outcome, it was a very successful community event that brought numerous positive reviews and feedback from our community, our stakeholders. And it really, we got a lot of feedback to do this event annually. So next slide. Here's a picture of the event flyer that we were able to both consistently use throughout the full phase. Next slide, Ryan. So again, we worked together to communicate the different phases of the construction. I thought the DDA and the city did a great job of communicating from every phase of the construction, from phase 1 and all the way to of course, to the day of. And then we the chamber came into whatever they led with on their social. We also included that in our weekly newsletter and, of course, in our social media platforms. Next slide. Again, collaborating closely with our vendors to secure those signups, maintaining that open communication with both our volunteers and vendors from the very beginning to the very end. Next slide. And if you ask me, a lot of that hard work paid off because we, for our first annual event, we had amazing response from both our local businesses. Many of the vendors there are chamber members, and of course, the whole community came out. The weather played a significant role. It was unseasonably hot that day, almost too hot, really. But it was just a wonderful turnout of the whole community coming out to support this event. Next slide. So again, our responsibility with the chamber extended beyond that of just securing those vendors and businesses to participate, but we were specifically tasked to help take a leadership role in recruiting and guiding our volunteers. And many of my board members, this Mo here, so one of my board members participated and provided assistance throughout the day because there was quite a for this event. It required a lot of volunteers, so we were happy to help them in that way. Next slide. I had to put that in, a little shout out to my husband here. It turned into a family affair, and the only reason I included that because I want everyone to know the word voluntold. My husband knows that the best, and my son, I even made my son get up that morning and help me too as well. So next slide. All right, to my second case study, and this takes us to Hazel Park with a company called Elan Car Components. I was very happy to take the lead on this project because it allowed me really to do my first major business retention. Just as a background, Elan Car Component is a tier 1 supplier. They're known for their innovative interior and exterior ambient lighting solutions, and primarily for the automotive sector. So we took the lead in organizing the retention visit. We, of course, you see a picture there where we invited Glenn from Oakland County and Amanda from MEDC to help us participate. I felt really bad. I got so caught up and excited to do our first retention visit that poor James and poor Glenn and Amanda, I might have let them put in or contribute a single word maybe from this. So it was a great project to get back into almost in the saddle of things here. Next slide. So the next case study takes us back to Madison Heights. This was a very fun project. It's a business located in the DDA called Alchemy Color Lab. They were actually relocating from another community. So, but for this space, I was very familiar with the building because the property owner had gray boxed it, and we had a lot of inquiries. So actually went through that building a couple times with the prospective tenants. And then with one of the owners there in the middle there, I had actually worked with him on he has another salon just down the street in the DDA as well. So I was very familiar with the owner. So he had reached out to me when he was interested in putting Alchemy's Color Lab into this space. So from the very beginning, we were involved to provide support that not only included the walkthrough, the introduction to the property owner, all that good stuff, but we had this one was a fun project because I've never had this asked of me before, where the owner wanted to take the existing sign from his other location in another city and bring it to this new location. So that was kind of a unique one where I had to make some contact at the city and get that clarification for him. And then he also ran into some issues with some of the contractors. So we had to come in and I just gave him a list of local contractors that could ultimately help them, and they did. So that was good. And then all the way down to the fun part of the grand opening, inviting all of the folks. He didn't know what to do. He wanted to make it a grand affair. So that was very fun. And despite all that delay in construction, this particular project was a great example what can be achieved when everyone collaborate and support each other. So that was a good one. All right, next case study. All right, we're back to Hazel Park. This is another fun project that we did. It is another business located in the Hazel Park DD8 district. Cascara Coffee. If you have not been there, I highly recommend. It's just a gem, already a gem. They're primarily a coffee roaster, but they had to integrate some retail operations there to kind of adhere to the zoning ordinance there. By the time we got involved, they had kind of already secured their location, had a lot of the interior stuff already done. But they did reach out to us to provide with them some a list of maybe some local sign companies. And then we were able to also discuss some of the upcoming Main Street grants for some of the other activities that they wanted to do, which they shared that they wanted to do this outdoor patio at the time. So of course that was an easy, connection with James that they were already working with anyway. But I did bring up some, angle parking issues, and they were able to work that out with James. And shortly after, put together the grand opening, that picture that you see there. And this site is also the focal point for some future discussion already on establishing a crosswalk connection, because it is literally across the street from a mini park from this coffee shop. So we're talking about some improvements to the streetscape enhancements there. Next case study. Our last case study takes us back to Madison Heights. In case you haven't noticed, I've been going back and forth between Madison Heights community and the Hazel Park community. This is one of Chiffon restaurant is one of my personal favorite lunch spots. They have incredible menu for ramen and poke bowls. They're actually conveniently located next to my favorite bakery, Mia's Bakery. So I had the opportunity to connect with the owner of Chiffon during the very early stages. He was doing construction, so I just literally went over there and to say hello and see how he's doing. From that, because he's a very young entrepreneur. He's that gentleman there in the very center there. He's only like 23, I think. This was his first venture, first restaurant, even though his family's the ones that, are the cooks behind the kitchen there. But this was his first venture. So I was able to help him to get him like everything from what he needed for this to obtain his certificate of occupancy. There was quite a bit of a construction that had to be done. So walked him through all of the necessary permits that he needed to do, and all the way to the grand opening event. I love this picture because it has both my communities there. You see Ed there. It was a grand affair. We didn't want it to make it just about Madison Heights. We invited the whole community to come out. And he's doing very, very well. This was literally, he's only at 1 year old or a little over a year old, and he's already talked to me about wanting to expand. And that's obviously that I was happy to recommend some of my colleagues in other cities that he could connect with. All right, next slide. All right, networking and connection. Of course, most chambers were all known for hosting many networking events, and that is certainly true for MHHP. But we take a slightly different approach to how we cultivate connections. So we believe that networking should not only broaden our reach, but also help us forge relationship beyond our community. So really, instead of sticking to that traditional model where, in the past, I know for us, we used to host these coffee chats where you typically saw like the same 6 to 10 individuals repeatedly. So that to me didn't work where it provided value for our members. So we, quickly participated in these. We pivoted and supported other networking events that were already in place. So example of that is that our 1 million cups event at Incubuzo. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a future slide. And then we also focused on other creative networking events that focused on culture, food, and networking. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that as well. To us, food, we firmly believe that food has the power to bring people together. And then you'll see that many of our networking events are centered around food. I always say that we eat very good here in our MHHP community. Next slide. So e-lounge, it's one of our popular, we used to do this every month. I actually launched this when I was during my time in Madison Heights, and we did successfully run this for about 4 to 5 years. So when I returned to my new role with the chamber, this was one of those top priorities that I wanted to bring back. And we did for a while there until it kind of morphed into us supporting the 1 million cup event. But the concept is a little bit different from what we've done in the past. It was 1 hour. It was on topics that were important for our entrepreneurs. And we did have a great turnout, consistently. We had anywhere from 15 to 20 plus 20 plus guests, and it seemed to be of value for a lot of our members. So next slide. So I mentioned the 1 million cup. We were one of the, I guess, early partners with this was originally set up by Oakland Thrive, and it's housed at Incubuzo. For those who may not be familiar with Incubuzo, they're an amazing shared office space in Ferndale. They are our Rockstar Chamber member as well. A big shout out to Josh Champagne. He is the owner and manager of Incubuzo, and he also happens to be our planning commission chair. So the one other person that I talk nerdy zoning stuff with. So from the very beginning, we supported this initiative, and it really was our drive and a commitment to offer our members something a little bit different, right? And these events, the women comes every week. It's every Wednesday. You don't have to RSVP for that. Show up. We consistently get 50 to 80 plus attendees every week, with nearly a dozen new entrepreneurs joining us every week too as well. It is by far one of those things that our members have expressed that this weekly event is one of the most beneficial events they participate in, because I think it consistently opens doors to some of the new networking prospects. So next slide. Now, this collaborative luncheon was really already in place before I came on board as the executive director. So I certainly want to commend and acknowledge the other chamber members for their dedication in keeping this going. This is our collab with Berkeley, Royal Oak, and Clawson. We believe that partnering with these other chambers provide with us a fantastic opportunity to not only highlight our gems, our rock stars, but really the whole purpose, of course, is to promote cross networking, right? So one of the things that we did when we every chamber hosts, and we typically host the fourth quarter. The first one we did was this Chinese noodle making. To me, it was one of the most well-attended gathering. Everyone had a great time, and it was intentionally designed to really encourage all of our guests to connect, not only in a relaxed setting, but to collaborate and talk to each other, right, with other members of the chamber, right? So we built on that success, and to me, from that event, I knew we had to do things a little bit differently, even with our collabs, always have something, an element of an activity. So our next collab is actually at Taco Tequila. Well, margarita is always going to be a draw in itself. And the next slide, Ryan, it has that picture of our lunch collab, and I just realized it didn't have the date there, but it's on November 13th. It's coming up, and it's at lunchtime. So I encourage you all to come and join us. Something fun. We're going to have a piñata there. That should be the draw. Next slide. All right. If there's one thing we excel in, it's of course with our networking events, it's having great food, right? We also strive to incorporate culture in a lot of our events because we take a great pride in the diversity of our MHHP community. So this is a great example of that hit on all of those. We've actually partnered with APAC there to do an event with dim sum. I learned a lot that I didn't even know there was so many variations to dim sum. I'm thinking 2 or 3 things there. So that was amazing just to try that. But really the whole purpose is to expand our network and also to partner with another organization to introduce new faces for our group, right? Not only for our members, but for them too as well. So for this one, it was very well attended. I think for that one, we had well over close to 50 guests to join us. Next slide. So as I previously noted in some of my earlier slides, under that city agreement, it spells out specific services that the chamber would provide. So one of these events is the annual State of the Cities. So what I did when I first came back was tap back into my previous role as the economic development coordinator and leverage some of those connections that I did back then to really bring or have these State of the Cities in a non-traditional venue. So in this instance at Navistar Defense. I thought this approach not only helps strengthen our existing network with our current members, but it also facilitates connection with other organizations to collaborate with us. So we were able to invite our friends over at Michigan Defense, and you see all the other partners that we had for this particular event. To me, that's a win-win. Next slide. All right. Here's another example of utilizing some of the connections that I had in my time with both communities. I was asked by Melissa's office to come up with some recommendations on a field trip that included some various industry groups from coffee shops all the way to some of my industrial folks for her department heads. That was very, very fun to put together. I really enjoyed putting together basically all my favorite businesses. And really it was a fantastic opportunity for her department heads to step outside of City Hall and to engage with our business leaders and community. The whole purpose was to foster that team building for her team, of course, but it really allowed them to have a better understanding of the businesses that contribute to our city's growth, right? Very fun event. I even had the fire chief there, and that's the gentleman in the orange there. He asked me if we could do this every month. So I knew that was a slam dunk when he enjoyed it. So, all right, next slide. All right, one of my Rockstar member is Kacha Tai. They're not even in Madison Heights, and that's the biggest myth, that you have to be, in order to join MHHB, you have to be a member. That is not true. In fact, my chamber president is actually based in Royal Oak. She owns a sign shop in Royal Oak. So, but this particular member, Kacha Tai, she reached out to me and asked me if I could help her at this upcoming event. She got invited by Myers to do the LPGA in Grand Rapids. That's not a request I usually get, so I jumped on that super fun event that weekend. I worked my butt off, but I have a strong belief that you do more, or you go that extra mile for your members. So I'm very grateful that she invited me. It was super fun. I got Rachel there from APEC, who also joined us too as well. And that allowed us to have one-on-one opportunity or meet with the CEO of Myers. That's just amazing. And that's a great way to elevate our visibility, right? Somewhere in Grand Rapids. Next slide. So I just and speaking of that, and a follow up to that was, we do a lot to support our members, of course. So this is a great example of her reaching out to me after we got back home. Her product is going to launch with Myers, but in the meantime, she did ask me, is there any other local members or grocery market that she could connect with to do a product demo? And we were happy to do that. In fact, this past Saturday, we did that at Kim Young Super Grocery Store. That's the picture in the very first slide of that grand opening we did. So it's a brand new Asian grocery market that we have that's situated in our former Kmart, or right by BJ's site there. And she did very well there. So that was a fun service that we were able to provide and support for our member. Next slide. So the following, I got about 5 slides here that kind of showcase some of the specific activity related, again, back to the city agreement. City agreement specifically calls out for the chamber to do the Shop Small Saturday campaign or take a leadership role in it. So once again, I revitalized an old project that I championed when I was with City of Madison Heights at the time, and it was called the Golden Egg Hunt. So for this particular project, I just added a few more shops to include the city of Hazel Park for this. And this is what we launched when my first year coming back as the chamber director to launch our Shop Small Saturday. So next slide. So here's, again, we extended. Oh, I forgot to explain what it was. The Golden Egg Hunt, we literally had these golden egg hunts. It wasn't hidden because we made it known on our social where they were. But again, it was to encourage our, residents, our, citizens to go out and support, go and visit find these golden eggs. And inside there, a lot of our gift shops or small shops had a little prize in there. It'd be like a free t-shirt or half off on an item. So here's one at Detroit Inc. Next slide. Now, this Shop Small campaign, I have to give credit to City of Rochester Hills. When I was with City of Rochester Hills, working with them, because Cimarron moved our headquarters over there, so I did get involved with some of the leadership folks over there. And at the time, Mayor Brian Barnett, he was promoting this idea of getting caught shopping small, where he was giving out local gift cards to the citizens during the holiday season. So I totally stole that idea, but put our own twist to it. We utilized this fun, like a mugshot, where you were caught shopping small, but got this mugshot. But that's how we featured all of our small business owners. So we got a lot of folks, special guests to help us out with this campaign. I mean, I even got our K9 to be featured for our pet bistro shop. That was a funny campaign. Next slide. But for this year, we are super excited to collaborate or work with award-winning marketing agency called Applewhite Agency. They're actually a chamber member as well, to kind of bring or offer a very unique opportunity this time around for getting ready for the Shop Small Saturday campaign. And it's essentially a 3-part workshop kicking off in early November, so next month really here, but to follow the journey of the customer. And then what we're going to do is gather all that data from that journey. I mean, it could be from like the ease of finding that shop online, to when you walk in through the door, the smell, the product display, all of those data will be collected. And then what we're going to do is share that with the shop owners leading up to the Shop Small Saturday, so they can be better prepared. So I thought that was very, very innovative. And here's again the another flyer. Next slide, Ryan. There's again, it's a 3-part workshop series, diving into the customer journey. We're going to focus on brick and mortar first, then we're going to focus on e-commerce, and then some of the service-based industries as well. So I'm super excited to do these workshops and then share all of that insight and data for our business leaders. Next slide. All right. Chamber, I put on there Education and Resource Center. Another fancy word or that's a fancy word for workshops and training. I believe that most chambers, they offer incredible. They of course offer incredible networking opportunities, but we also do a great job of working or offering workshops and training. So we are very proud here at MHHB to provide a rich selection of these trainings. To me, we act as a central hub for our members. But we actually received a grant from the state MADC that it kind of allowed us to really enhance some of the training that we offer here. So in the next couple slides here, I'm going to show you some examples of that training that we do. So next slide. So occasionally, or quite often actually, I get inquiries from our members on how they can access the city's or the school's purchasing bid, right? So that actually inspired us to put together this Coffee and Learn workshop on how to bid on local government and contracts, and really focus on just those two entities, right? Local government and schools, right? And I was very fortunate to tap into my network. We have a great relationship with all of our school district, and of course our purchasing directors from both communities to put together this panel discussion. So the next slide, Ryan. Here's that photo of that workshop featuring representative from both our Madison and Lanphier school districts. They're the direct folks directly in charge of purchasing, along with, of course, our rockstar purchasing director from both Madison Heights and Hazel Park. Very well attended workshop. Love that one. Next slide, Ryan. So we also receive a lot of advice, early on, that, Linda, don't always have your workshops early in the morning or even during the day. You got to mix it up with some evening ones too as well. So I'm always, critical of thinking of that. So we also offer many, panel discussion stuff. And what I've learned out too as well is always have a moderator. Valen here is a knockout. She does a great job of us for moderating a lot of our panel speaking stuff. Obviously, is to keep us organized and center on the topic. And we've been seeing some success and good attendance from all of these. Next slide. Just a couple more slides to kind of showcase the types of workshops that we do here at the chamber. It seems like many of our workshops centered around social media stuff, marketing stuff is of value and asked up. So this is one we did on Instagram. Next slide has our LinkedIn workshop that we did last month. Like I said, topics concerning like social media and marketing has consistently been kind of popular and of value for our members. So we certainly want to reflect those trainings as well. All right, next slide. Now, many of the training sessions, besides the marketing and the social media, are deeply connected to our relationship with our various city departments. So one of the notable example of that is this training we did, I think last year, how to operate a fire extinguisher training. This was, of course, in collaboration with our Madison Heights Fire Department and our Hazel Park Fire Department. This was resounding success. It had high attendance. I think I had like close to 40 people at this event. We received great positive feedback from our members, including myself. I've never actually operated a fire extinguisher and actually used it. So that was great training even for myself. But some of the other, collaboration or training that's directly tied to the city departments include we did a cybersecurity training with the FBI, emergency preparedness with our local police department, and we've even done one on code enforcement training. So, next slide has a picture from that fire extinguisher training. Next slide. So we also do, we organize on a pretty consistent basis here, some informal discussion with our city leaders. And this picture here, you see Melissa's, where we invite, the special guest was Melissa, who's our city manager. It kind of resembles our typical coffee chats, but of course, this, includes a notable guest from from various city departments. And it really is designed to be comfortable, dialogue driven. It's supposed to be set up to be that exchange of ideas, but with our business community to our city officials. We've done this with the police chiefs and a few other prominent city leaders, and it's been very well received by our members. Next slide. And finally, we're excited about this. I'm going to do a plug-in for our next upcoming event. This one, we're going to partner with Oakland Thrive on this. I'm excited because it's a panel discussion, but it features many of our chamber members like Phyllis, who's our chamber president, a woman-owned sign shop, the owner of Planet Rock. We got a couple, like 4 or 5 rock star members that are going to be joining us. So again, this event, I'm super excited because we tend to talk a lot about some of the successes, a lot of the good, but maybe not focus too much on the bad and the ugly that are, helps our other, members to feel like they're not alone in this. And the sharing is the value, right? So this event is actually on October 30th at Incubusel starting at 5:30 p.m. So if you want more information, connect with me later and I'll get you all the detail because I know the flyer just cuts off the date. Next one. All right, we're in the final finish line. So what I did for this slide is highlighted some of the unique benefits that our collaboration with both communities offers, some of the obvious ones. Open communication. It opens up that channel of communication both with our chamber and the city officials, which is equals a win-win for our members. It really makes our businesses and members feel recognized and valued. Resource sharing, as I noted in some of the earlier slides, it's one of the greatest value that our chamber and the city, when we work together on initiatives that support our businesses. As we all know, resources are limited, right? So there is that need to share, all right? In my opinion, that collaboration ultimately results in a win for enhancing our economic growth. It helps with job creation. It helps expand our tax base. It helps to increase our investment from our developers. It helps improve quality of life and basically everything that we deeply value, right? So next slide. Here's my takeaways, all those takeaways. What I did was try to categorize into those 4 main sections that we kind of discussed earlier, some of those examples. But what I thought was instead of addressing them one by one, my last, slides here, I included some final picture slides that visually represent some of these key takeaways here. So I'm going to give you a couple seconds to kind of see that. But all right, Ryan, we'll go to the next slide. So here is a picture slide that that represents how truly blessed I feel in my relationship with both the city of managers of Madison Heights. In case you guys don't know, the picture on my left here, that the gentleman is Ed Klobuchar, city manager of Hazel Park, and Melissa is, of course, the one on the right. So I'm going to have you guys take a minute to read that quote. I am truly blessed. Ryan, next slide. So another fantastic partner of the chamber is Oakland County Main Street. We all know Annika and John over there. They certainly offer invaluable programs such as the Main Street grants and lots of initiatives that provide direct support to our downtown and our Main Street. So for this example, here, Annika actually came down to visit us with one of our Main Street business to examine like potential opportunities for utilizing some of his buildings. So that was very nice of Annika to come down and really help us figure that out. Next slide. So this picture falls under that community engagement category. I always say that you should always seize opportunity to connect with your various city departments, especially the police, fire, and of course, don't forget our DPS. I do a lot of engagement community stuff that includes the mayor, city council, and of course, our city manager. To me, that relationship that you build yields significant benefits. It provides our members with the valuable connections that they want to seek, and it really leads to returns that multiply tenfold for us, right? So I say be creative too, working with them. I recently invited them to join me on this. We're doing a couple month campaign to showcase our local jobs. So earlier or last week, I had my fire marshal and a police officer help me highlight a barista position by making cappuccinos at my favorite bakery, Mia's Bakery. And then even last week, Friday, I had Melissa come out and Josh, our planning commission chair, to get behind the bar for a bartending position at a local restaurant. So if you guys want to see that, it's all on our Instagram page, so you can see the whole video of that. Very fun. Next slide. So another community engagement category as well. It's always a great idea to support like these various community events. I know you all have them. Like we had one with the recent fire department. These are fun. You just show up, and a lot of times you just get in there and help out wherever you can. So those are the easy wins, right? Okay, next slide. And as I mentioned in the earlier slides, it's always beneficial to connect with and foster relationship with your, city planners, EDC, they're called in many different titles, but anyone that supports small businesses, right? In Oakland County, in my opinion, are fortunate to have a lot of them dedicated to that. So for my chamber colleagues, again, if you can, if possible, consider having them join your board. Like in our board, they're serving as ex-official members of our chamber. So Giles and James, they have a seat at our chamber board. And for my local EDC colleagues, I encourage you to have that initial, if you haven't, or more in-depth conversation with your local chambers. Look for opportunities to collaborate, even if you need them to, just ask them if they could provide volunteers for an event that you're maybe working on. I say be open to that dialogue, nurturing these relationships. I mean, after all, we all serve the same audience, right? It's the small businesses. So the more that we can collaborate and work together, certainly that's the greater advancement for the communities that we serve, right? Jim, I know you're singing the Kumbaya right now. So, all right. So there's multiple. Next slide. Then this picture, falls under the multiple categories. So I always believe that you should plan and host events that unite that business community with your local residents, the community, and your city leaders. So I absolutely love for this picture how it brought both my city leaders. You see Ed there along with my Madison Heights city leaders. They were both invited to this Army's anniversary event that we had in Madison Heights. I absolutely love it when we see both visiting each other for various occasions. They do that without hesitation. It's not crazy for me to ask Ed to come to Madison Heights or Melissa come down to HB or whatever. It's all about collaboration. It's all about teamwork, right? All right. Jim is still singing the Kumbaya song right now. All right. The next slide. So this is another multiple category example. I always say offer support and engage in cross promotion stuff, right? It doesn't matter who sponsored the event, right? We can collaborate, we can promote together. And at the very least, I like the ones that you can just show up and attend the event, right? So that's exactly what happened here with our first Oktoberfest. Well, it's not really first; they've been doing it, but we just showed up. And I always like to say for this, start with small initiatives and gradually expand. Make it bigger than next year. Don't overpromise and underdeliver, kind of thing, right? So this is a great example of that. Great times.
Hey,
Who
Linda,
doesn't like?
we're at 11. I just wanted to
Okay, I'm
mention where.
literally at my last slides.
Okay.
Okay, if you want to fast forward to actually I only got two more slides. Next slide. Next slide. Oh, so this is another networking and community. Both the next two pictures are part of my network and community engagement. Again, just promote and participate in events that celebrate culture, food, and networking. Always have food. Offering food will always get you great participation. So the next two slides, yeah, and that's it. The last slide with that one is collaborate. So again, just final thoughts, collaborate wherever and whenever possible, support each other, broaden your network. Really everybody needs to keep in mind that we all share a common denominator, right? We support our small businesses. So I want to thank everyone for their time. Thank you to Jim and Ryan there for inviting me. I think Jim asked me about a year ago, but thank you again for inviting me, allowing us to share our story. I am truly blessed to have a very, very, very supportive team. I'm grateful every day that they allow me to do this job that I really, truly enjoy. So thank you for your time this morning.
Okay. Excellent presentation, Linda. And Ryan, we did not have any questions, so you can wrap it up.
Oops, I'm sorry. I got to get my get my video going here. So, Linda, thank you for joining us. Great presentation today. Thank you for providing your insights and expertise. Thanks to everyone else on the call here for joining us. And a reminder, we do have another planners gathering coming up in December on the 11th, where we'll cover some legislative and judicial updates. Again, thanks for joining. Have a wonderful day.
Have a wonderful day.